Everyone. My name is Jesse with Tools. So I wanted to say thank you very much for everyone who's joined. We had almost 300 people register for this webinar, and there's over 100 of you right now. So we really appreciate the opportunity to show you how to use tools in your Follow Up Boss account so that you can convert more transactions by having better conversations and delivering more value with every conversation that you're having with a customer without ever leaving Follow Up Boss. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, do a screen share. I'm going to show you basically our Follow Up Boss account. You can follow along. Everyone that's on the call, you will be receiving a copy of the recording. I'll be sending that out a little bit later so that you could use it for training and reference that information a little bit later. If you have any questions, please feel free to use it in the chat, and we'll try and basically get through some of those as the call gets near the end. This will be a quick half an hour, so we're going to get straight into basically everything that we're trying to cover here for you. So give me 1 second here. Also, if you can share any of your feedback in the poll and any of the suggestions, that would be super, super helpful for us so that we could build a better product for you and continue to give you tools that are going to help you in your business. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. So basically, Tools is designed for you to try and have a much better conversation, to stay in conversation with a customer, and to be prepared for your calls to make sure that you can deliver value and answer all of the client questions. If we do that on that initial call and every conversation that we have with the customer, you're going to be delivering value and you're avoiding the game of tag. Part of the idea of Tools is to eliminate the need for you to say, I'm going to call you back and get back to you with an answer. And you're able to deliver all of the answers immediately, basically, for that particular item, basically. So at this point, what you're going to see here for Tools, so those of you that have the account installed, you're probably going to see it here in the bottom right-hand corner if this is your first time installing it. You'll need to open it. You might see a little spiral. You might need to click, set up the account so that it's currently live in your account. Also, if you mouse over these 8 little points, you can actually move Tools anywhere that you want, basically on the screen. Now, I recommend to have it near the top, and you're going to see the reason why here in just a second. Traditionally, you're going to enter into a contact record, and you're going to do that starting from a smart list that you have designed. Now, that smart list might be based on outstanding tasks that you have. It may be from people that have recently visited the website. It may be for new leads, maybe for old leads that are overdue, whatever your smart list is. Once you've entered into a contact, you're going to have your contact record, which is here on the right-hand side, which would normally show your last communication. You're probably looking down here for the stage of the lead before you make the call, the age of the lead and what the original source was. And then maybe you're going to look to see, did we make any calls with this particular customer? And you're going to try and determine your outbound call with that person based on the stage and whatever your smart list is. So when you have Tools enabled here on the right-hand side, and the reason why we want to try and move this up near the top is that it's going to include the name of the person. It will also include the stage and the age of the lead, all in one tight single space, so that it makes it very easy and effective for you to work through your smart list, so that when you get ready to make the call. Now, traditionally, you would either call that person, text that person, or email that particular person. So if you look at the design of follow-up of the Tools app here, it's designed for you to see who the person is, what stage they're in, how old they are, and possibly some call data about that particular person, which I'll show you here in a second. You're either going to call them, email them, or text them. So these are tools to help you get ready to do those particular tasks that you're going to have. Once basically you've made contact with that particular person, you're probably going to start talking about properties. That is the most common reason why you're reaching out to most of your leads. And then you have tools in here or calculators in here that are going to help you have more detailed conversations with that particular customer. Coaching is one-on-one tools for you to figure out basically the value of your time, help you set some income goals, and things like that. And here at the very bottom is basically our AI assistant. This is basically Chat GPT. So you have instant access to be able to answer any kind of question, to do any kind of personal searches without ever leaving your contact record. So I'm going to start here at the bottom first. Because you're an agent who's here currently because you want to try and do better in your business. And one of the best ways to do better is to understand the value of your time. So this quick little tool here is going to help you understand what is your actual value of your time. So maybe you've closed, 6 deals this year, you've made 120,000 so far, and you're working 40 hours a week. If we understand the value of our time, our actual hourly rate, then we're going to be much more aware of trying to do things that are going to be much more in alignment with basically our income. So in this case, this particular calculator will show you what your income rates are. If we go into income goals, this is going to help you achieve your goals. So maybe you want to make 250,000, you know what your average sales price is, all of your details. This is going to show you exactly how many closings you're going to need in the upcoming year to achieve your goal, how many appointments that you'll need to set, how many appointments you'll need to meet, and then basically a daily task that you'll probably need to do to achieve those goals. And if you were doing this, what is the value of your time in each one of those tasks? So this is designed to help you set your path going forward so that you can achieve your goals in real estate by working your CRM correctly and breaking it down into the simplest task, which in this case is to make $250,000. You should probably make 124 calls a day, have at least 4 meaningful conversations, and set appointments. And understand that each conversation that you're going to have is going to be worth about $330 if you do that, because you have to do all of the little tasks to get to the big commission. And what this is trying to do is show you the value of achieving that. So this is related to basically coaching and getting you kind of up and going and making calls. So let's say you access this particular customer named Joe. Some of you may be able to see a map here that is going to show the history of that person since the account has been connected, of the properties that they are currently looking at. Now, the reason why we created this is that the grouping of those properties, so if there's lots of properties in a really tight area, that particular person is probably close to transacting sometime soon. If the grouping is very far apart, then what's going to end up happening is that that particular person may not be ready, hasn't decided exactly in what area. And this is going to give you those insights to understand that. The first address that you'll see here is going to be related to the most recent property that they just looked at. And then this will give you the details or a summary of how many properties over what period of time and when the last one that they actually looked at. So this is going to give you those basic details that are going to be the initial foundation of the phone call. Now, traditionally, you could click on the map and it's going to show you each property individually that that person has looked at. And it's going to put it on a street map so that you understand the neighborhood a little bit more. It's going to give you the property details or a street view. And in here, it'll show you the age of the activity that they did here at the top, the MLS number. I'll give you the original source, the Zestimate, so that you can answer those particular questions. details about the particular property. So if I pull property details, this is going to pull in all the legal information about that particular property. And it'll pull all of those individual details all directly inside of there, as well, basically, as the Zestimate if we want to pull that Zestimate detail. Area details will allow you to turn back around and look at other listings that are in that surrounding area. So if they happen to not be interested in this particular property, you have direct access to mention other properties that they may be interested in. So once you start to call, text, or email that particular person, you're going to most likely be talking about properties. So if I use Joe here as an example, let's say this person was looking at this particular property. What you can do maybe is you're not familiar about that particular area or what's in that surrounding area. And that particular customer that you're speaking to is going to be looking towards you to be able to provide them insights about that neighborhood because they want to work with the local professionals. So, one of the tools that you have in here is in this section related to property. If we go to area details and you put in an address of any property, what this is going to do is it's going to use AI to try and generate a summary of everything in that particular area. And this is going to give you talking points to have a conversation with that particular customer so that you can reference the area, the neighborhood name, details about that particular location, and make you sound like a local professional, even though you might not be immediately familiar with that particular property. So the goal is if you are following up on a task list and that person has recently looked at a home, you're going to copy and paste that address, stick it in here, hit calculate, and now you would have all of these details about that particular property that you can reference and mention to the customer. So in this case, if they were interested in Los Santos Way, you would be able to say, that this is close to Cypress and Stanton as part of Orange County. Here's the local schools that are related to it. Here's the amenities, possible APN information, last sold date, and basically the emotional hooks about that particular area. Also giving you a map so that if they start to have questions and they ask you about freeway access or anything like that, you have direct fingertip access to all of the information that you need. You'll also have a Google Street View if it's available, so that way you could quickly have an at-a-glance idea of what the property looks like and the types of properties that that particular person may be interested in. There's also a link here that's going to take you directly to that listing on Zillow. And the reason why this is important is it gives you easy access to be able to see more interior photos so that you can have a better description, a better conversation with the customer. And it's also going to give you access to be able to see the listing agent information and the contact information to reach out to that listing agent if you need to schedule a showing very quickly. So this gives you all of your fingertip access directly to any property that you may be interested in or that customer is interested in or asking you about. Next, you'll see some buttons in here that are also available. So as an example, you have a Zestimate. So a use case for this might be that you create a smart list. And that smart list is based on people that are old home valuation leads, or maybe your old customers. And you want to reach out to them and you're not really sure what to talk about. Well, all homeowners have a pretty strong opinion about basically the Zestimate of their current property. So you can enter in the property of that particular person, pull up the immediate Zestimate, and make a phone call out to your customer and lead the phone call with a script that might be something like this. Hey, Joe, I know that we spoke a while back ago, about 8 months or so ago, and you had inquired about a home valuation. I want to let you know I just referenced your property, and it looks like the current Zestimate is worth about $926,000. How do you feel about that Zestimate? Does it seem accurate to you? And that is a great lead in to a conversation with that particular homeowner because they're going to have a strong opinion. They're going to think it's too high or it's too low. And then that will start that conversation so that you can earn that person's trust and easily have a meaningful conversation that is personalized directly to that particular customer. That's the idea behind the Zestimate and ways that you can use that. Also, it's quick and easy. If you're working on a new listing or inputting any kind of information, you can pull up all of those details. Property detail, this is again going to pull up all of the legal information about that particular property. So if the customer is asking you about the APN or the lot size or any of that, you have direct access to year built, any information that may not necessarily appear on an MLS listing or directly inside of the Zillow description, you'll have direct access to all of that information in here, including last transactions, all of those particular details, the property tax assessment data. And if you go all the way to the very bottom of this, again, you will have the map view, the property view, and you have an ability to copy all of this information and pull up the Zestimate and basically look at that property on Zillow. Again, our goal is to just make this very easy for you to have this very fluid conversation when you're talking with a particular customer. What I normally recommend for you is to poke around a bunch of these tools. They're all going to have a slight description at the top in terms of what the tool will do for you. Now, let's say this particular customer again was saying, well, how's the market in this Buena Park area? And maybe you are not familiar on answering that particular question. So what you're able to do is go to get local market report, put in basically a zip code of that particular area. So you could do something like this. And what this is going to do is going to give you instant access to an Altos market report for that particular area. And this is available for all areas across the entire country. So if I open up the report, this is going to give you the ability to reference all of this information here so that you could talk about what is happening in the market. So that again, you sound like a local professional that is extremely knowledgeable and you don't need to play the game of tag. You actually can use this as a direct talk track and mention to that particular person that, the average listing prices in Whittier currently are, 1 million. Average price per square foot is about 550. Average days on market is about 60 days. And you have this nice little chart that's going to explain to you the trends that are currently happening. Now, this is not designed for you to send it over to them. It's just designed for you to be able to use this as a reference, although you can copy this and paste it basically directly into a report for that particular customer. So this will give you all of that kind of information. One thing that we do recommend is there's a button here at the very bottom that is current mortgage rates and news. So this is just a great way to start your day. When you first log into your CRM, getting ready to make your first phone call and working through your task list or working through your task, pull up the mortgage rates. And this is going to give you current mortgage rates as of today. It's also going to give you a summary of what happened in the mortgage rates. And this is real-time news so that you can get yourself super familiar. And it comes from a site called Mortgage News Daily. And it's all currently updated directly in here. So just gives you a good starting point. If a customer asks you about what interest rates are doing or what's happening in the market, you can quickly answer that question as well. If you have any kind of new listing, again, you can use this particular tool to pick any kind of property, and this will write all of your listing materials. It will give you a MLS property description. It will give you a text message, a call script, an email, a video script. It'll give you 7 marketing pieces for you to promote your brand new listing and make that super, super easy for you to be able to do that. So once you're in conversation and you're kind of talking about properties, oftentimes what's going to end up happening is the person, if they are interested, may start to get into a little bit more details. And what our calculator section here is going to do is help you be able to answer all of those questions. It is also designed to help you be able to answer the most common rebuttals that people have or objections that they have to not buying or selling a home immediately. So, as an example, you're going to see there's a calculator here, which is rent versus buy. So, oftentimes you might get a customer who's going to tell you that they want to continue renting. And so, the way that you can use this particular tool is as I'm having the conversation with that particular customer, I can ask them, "Hey, Joe, if you don't mind me asking, I know you're not ready to buy right now, but how much are you paying in rent?" And maybe they'll tell you that they've been paying $3,500. And you know, because you just checked the interest rates, that rates are about six and a quarter. So you can run this quick calculation. And now what this does, it gives you the ability to have this conversation with Joe, which would sound something like this. "Hey, Joe, did you know that for $3,500 a month, at the current interest rates of right around six and a quarter or so, you would be able to purchase a home for the same monthly payment of $440 to $450,000. That property with 5% down, you would need about 22,000 or so. And that would give you a loan amount of right around 420,000. Now that PITI payment would total right around $3,500 or so. And here's the important thing. I know that you've been renting your property for a couple of years, and basically you haven't really accumulated any wealth. And here's the difference is that if you were to purchase a home for that $3,500 a month, the same monthly payment that you're making right now, and now the property appreciates at, let's say, an average of 3% a year, for the next 5 years, what's going to end up happening is that home that you bought today would then be worth probably right around 500 to 515,000. Your loan balance would be paying down. So that monthly payment, instead of giving it to a landlord for the next 5 years, which would be $210,000 worth of rent that you just gave away, you would have actually paid down that loan balance to maybe around 385,000 or so. And you would now have about $125,000 worth of equity in this new home, and that would have that $22,000 that you have saved in the bank really working for you. And this would give you the ability to probably then buy your forever home, because it's going to be pretty hard to save up this kind of money over the next basically 5 years. So this gives you a quick talk track. You would be able to copy all of this information, paste it directly into an email or into notes, and send that over to that particular customer. So this is a way that you can use this particular calculator to have a conversation with a very common objection that you're going to have from customers. Now, we recently created, last week, we launched this one, which is called a wait rate versus basically buy. Many times you're going to get customers. This is one of the most common objections that you have, that they are going to tell you, "I'm going to wait because I want a lower interest rate." So if you hear that, you can open up this calculator very quickly. And as you're having the conversation with the customer, is basically say, "Well, today's rates are about six and a quarter or so. And we'll need to talk to a lender. So this is not a rate quote, but this is just kind of what the averages are right now. But if you were to wait for an interest rate, as you're saying, you want rates to go lower, what would be that target rate? What should I contact you at to let you know when those interest rates achieve that rate?" And so maybe they'll tell you, "Oh, I want to wait until they're 5.25%. And then you're going to ask them, "Well, how long are you willing to wait to get this particular interest rate?" And maybe they're going to tell you, "Oh, a couple of months." Maybe they'll tell you a year. Maybe they'll tell you a couple of years. So what you want to do is you want to ask them, well, how long are you willing to wait to get this particular interest rate? That little question too is also going to tell you if there's a life event that's going to force them to move in the future. Maybe their lease is ending, they're expecting a child, they're getting married or something like that. So that might be the determinator for them to wait for a specific rate. Then you're going to ask them, well, approximately what purchase price are you looking at homes? And maybe they'll tell you 500,000. So then you can use the rest of this details. And you're going to ask them, well, if you were to purchase a home, how long do you plan on keeping this new home that you think you're going to purchase? Most people are going to tell you 7 to 10 years or so. So you can say 10 years. And what this particular tool is going to do is give you a talk track that you can now use to have this conversation with this customer. And it would sound something like this. Hey, Joe, I understand that you want to wait for interest rates to drop to 5.25 before you purchase basically a home for maybe right around 500,000. Now, the difference in those monthly payments is going to be about $263 a month. But that doesn't include your tax write-off. So it's really about $3,000 a year or so difference in monthly payments. Now, here's the thing is if during the time that we're waiting for these interest rates to come down, if the property goes up by $40,000 as an example, what's going to end up happening is if the property is worth 540,000 while you're waiting and interest rates do go down to 5.25, the monthly payment is exactly the same and you actually lose the opportunity. There's no savings for you. In fact, you're actually going to probably lose money because if you bought a $500,000 house today and it appreciates at 3%, that property is going to go up for this 1 year time that you're waiting for the property or for interest rates to go down, will probably appreciate by $15,000. And that equity, it would take about 57 months before you recouped that savings of that $3,100 or that $261. So this allows you to have a very meaningful conversation that delivers value to that particular customer very quickly. Again, we're going to give you all of the details here so that you can have that particular conversation with everyone. Now, all of these tools, these are all older tools. You can go ahead and click on each one of these. They're all pretty self-explanatory. So we've got about 3 minutes left. So I'm going to cover the last parts of these particular tools that are up here, which is preparing for basically if you're text messaging someone, maybe they're going to tell you that they're not interested and you're not really sure what to say. So maybe they say something like not interested, waiting for lower interest rates. As an example, you can copy whatever the text objection that they are giving to you, paste it into this. And what this will do is it's going to give you a very targeted rebuttal to basically answer this particular person with. And you can see it's already personalized with their name and everything in here. There's actually a couple of them that you can use or pick, and it's going to tell you why basically those objections will work. So these are the tools under text messaging. Occasionally, you might get a text message that you try to send from FUB and it comes back as being filtered by the carrier. You can use this particular tool to copy that particular message, paste it directly inside of here, and try and fix that message or rewrite it in a way that is not going to get filtered. This uses AI and tries to extract basically all the keywords that may be triggering that particular filter. If you're getting ready to email customers and the lead is very old, it's very important for you to verify the email to make sure that the email is deliverable. You are trying to protect your email domain. So some of you may be experiencing situations where your emails are getting filtered or they're not getting delivered. And that's because you may have damaged the reputation of your email domain because you're sending to invalid email addresses. So if you use this particular tool called Verify Email in here, This will allow you to check any email immediately to find out if it's deliverable before you actually send it, and to make sure that the quality of that email is good to prevent unnecessary email bounces that may come through. You could use Optimize My Email. This is going to design it for like mobile type emails. This will write an email based on the stage. Um, and you can try and use that as well. Now, if you're preparing for calls, which is what you're going to do the majority of the time, you could check a DNC phone number if you're calling FISBOs and expires and you want to make sure that this phone number is not on the DNC. You can go ahead and check all of those particular things. If you're unsure where this phone number is located at, you can check the best time to call, and it's going to tell you the location of that phone number in that time zone to make sure that you're calling at the proper time and not outside of illegal calling hours. So those of you that are on the coast where there might be a 3 or 4 hour time difference, you may want to use that before you make the phone call if there's an area code that you're not familiar with. Generate a call script. This will give you some ideas on how to make an outbound phone call for those of you that are newer. This will take a look at the stage of the lead and try and generate a couple call scripts for you that are going to help you with that particular call. So it'll give you a call opener. It'll give you a couple of them. It's going to tell you why they particularly work. So this is kind of a coaching opportunity, and it will also answer or give you the most common objections that you're going to get so that you already have a rebuttal. So if someone says that they're just browsing for now, you have basically an answer that you can reply back with quickly. Mover momentum score is basically a scripting. So if you're unsure how to kind of guide your phone call when you're calling someone new and you're not familiar with LP Mama, you could basically use this as a guidance for you. So you can ask them initially about their motivation. There's a small script here. And then the idea is that you could use these particular grading systems, and this is going to give you some coaching in terms of what you can do for that particular customer. So that has covered most of your tools. If you're an account owner, you might be able to see snapshots up here. This is going to tell you what's happening in your sales pipeline on that particular lead and how those leads are moving through. You can also get lead inquiry insights. This will tell you the most common times that leads are responding based on the lead sources that you guys have. But this does require that the API be connected by the homeowner or by the account owner, which you would see normally a red dot that is here. I've gone a little bit over time. So those of you that are on the call, I'm going to try and answer any of your questions in here. The property staging information is all under basically, I'm going to try and answer some quick questions. You can add the free account. That is basically under integrations. There is a do not call registry. I just showed that over to you guys. I'm just going through the buy versus rent, trying to answer any other questions. Last question is that yes, you will basically receive a copy of this recording. I'll send it out to everyone. There is a survey that is going to go out as I end this call. We would really appreciate it if you could complete that survey and give us any feedbacks. And last but not least, here at the very top, if you have any ideas for any tools, at the bottom of every single tool, there is a button for you to basically share your feedback. We would appreciate if you could give us any of those things, because we're going to work on trying to continue to build you the best tool set to help you basically do your business. And again, we really appreciate your time. If you have any questions, feel free to send us a message. You can reply back to the emails that you receive from us, and I'll try and answer all of your questions as quickly as possible. Thank you very much. Have a great productive day and best of luck out there. We hope that you are going to be successful in terms of using these tools and that you find value and you can deliver value to your customers, because your ultimate goal is to earn their trust by basically being able to answer all of their questions and sharing specific insights that that customer may not be familiar with. Again, thank you very much and have a great day. Thank you.